Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy the story. This was written by a real human. So please leave a like if you enjoy it to help the channel and subscribe for future content. It's free. Links to the story and Patreon will be in the description. Please go and support the author. Any support is always appreciated. If a human narrator would like to narrate my stories, please contact me. I write these in my spare time between work and my children and just don't have the time or quiet space to narrate them myself. I hope you can understand. Thanks for your time, and again I hope you enjoy the story. And for the love of everything YouTube, this is literature, so please leave my channel alone. Let's get into it, folks. Get those damn engines back online. Engineering. Medical report. Gregory slumped in his chair, cradling his left arm. He had dislocated it after the inertial dampeners went dead, and he found himself suddenly at the end of his tether as he was then slammed into his Exos workstation. The Leviathan bucked as external explosions slammed into her unshielded hull plating. They still didn't know what the hell had happened. Whatever that light had been, a massive EMP burst had followed right behind it. Even most of the hardened electronics had been fried from its intensity, and the shockwave had been enormous. "Sir, TAC coming back online with backup power," his Exo reported. "Dr. Lee is reporting multiple injuries, mostly minor. Engineering is realigning the core. Stand by for cold start in 10, 9, 8. His Exos voice trailed off as the TAC display flickered back to life. A field of debris and heavily damaged ships hung eerily still in the display. Everything was dead, floating on inertia from the wave. The moon ship had disappeared. The Mammoth's beacon hung silent. His heart skipped a beat. Barbara. His eyes scanned the display, sorting through the data, and finally found it. Her ship had been a little farther away from the moon ship than he had hoped. But its beacon hung silent as well, meaning no data was available. They could just be knocked out like his ship the Leviathan. But he doubted it. He had almost full shields and even better hardened systems than the Mammoth, but it had still scrambled everything. Power surged back through his ship's systems, bringing sparks from overloaded circuits. Engineers rushed here and there, replacing, repairing, and rewiring as needed. "Sir, I need to set your shoulder. Brace yourself," came Ensign Havala's tinkling Eladrin voice. "Ready, sir?" Gregory gave a curt nod as the ensign popped his arm back into the socket. Thankfully he was sitting, and the roar he let loose quickly became a, "Thank you, ensign." The man nodded and moved on to Private Garn. The man had a head wound, and someone was holding a piece of a uniform on his head to slow down the bleeding. "Where's our people at Exo? We had 4 wings out." "Sir, I think we have some of them restarting from the Spades and Vanguard." "Only a few though, sir," came his Exo. "Looks like we're only seeing half the Mammoth. Her engine compartment and entire aft section are gone. The Refuge has a large fissure fore to aft. Something tore through her plating like a hot knife. Reading life support is still functional for both ships." He needed to get to her. But he couldn't. He had obligations not just to her, but to all their Navy men and women. Get some shuttles to them with medical and engineers. Start recovering our people. He looked at the debris and one piece that looked like an intact dropship. He pointed at it. "Make damn sure that is disabled." His Exo nodded, ordering the fighters to target its engines and shield nodes. And Gregory felt a little satisfied as they were able to easily accomplish the task with it being dead in space. They weren't happy about not being able to blow it up, but Gregory knew wherever Admiral Zong was currently, his orders would be the same. Naval intelligence would be interested in whatever they could get out of its fried systems. "Sir, the Refuge's beacon just flared to life. They have sublight engines." "Sir, I don't know how they managed it, but they're pinging the other enemy drop ship or we wouldn't be able to see it. Its trajectory will carry it into Earth's gravity well," his Exo reported. "Where is it?" he asked, but even as he did, another red beacon flared to life on the other side of the debris cloud. "Shit. We can't make that in time. Suggestions?" He felt his stomach lurch at the thought of that fucking ship making it anyways after how valiantly the U.S. Alliance Navy had fought, outnumbered, and handicapped by the damn politicians. The Refuge started moving. He could see its prow turn slowly towards the Viril drop ship. The pressure wave had carried it above the elliptical, which put it above most of the larger pieces of debris. Its forward shield node flickered as if in defiance, then flared blue. Slowly it gained momentum. The Viril dropship's engine sputtered briefly, flared out, sputtered again, and then flared to life. "Can our people make it?" he asked, already knowing the answer. "No, sir, she's the only thing that stands a chance of making it in time. That EMP crippled the inner orbital forts and blinded everyone. If they hadn't pinged the enemy ship, we wouldn't have even seen it. Our system had it tagged as debris." His XO grimaced. 37 minutes later he was looking over the list of personnel they had ferried off the Mammoth. A ping came over his console to alert him to the message. They still didn't have contact with the refuge through comms. But an ingenious tech named Tim had noticed the GalNet system was still broadcasting signal, so he had tried sending Barbara a message through it. He had finally gotten a response. And it wasn't much. And wasn't from Barbara, it was from her XO, Hadara. "We will not fail. Captain Barbara asked for us to save Sol. We cannot fail." What the hell? Was something wrong with Barbara? Why hadn't she responded? His mind raced with 100 questions. Captain, the refuge. He looked up at the TAC display, not liking the sound of any of it. Life pods were jettisoning out of her hull as she closed in on the Viril drop ship. And somehow the refuge fired. It wasn't many, less than 20 birds, but Gregory knew it was probably everything they could make work in that amount of time. A few more life pods jettisoned as it came within meters of the enemy ship. Luna's habitable rings loomed in the distance. They had to be within sight of everyone on Luna by now, Gregory thought. They were that close. Then the refuge's beacon flared. Its core was manually overridden, and with a flash it was gone, and so was the Viril drop ship. A pressure wave washed over the debris cloud in Luna's rings. And all he could do was stare at the TAC screen, helpless. Lieutenant Oliver Casso, ODT, Specialist Heavy Weapons, deployed Mars Station. Casso, Karn, Frenchie, get your asses ready. Your objective, secure that fucking cathedral. There's a bunch of civvies down there doing our damn jobs now, fucking move it. He snapped a salute with a yes sir, and slapped his helmet on, double-checking the readouts. Satisfied, he grabbed his standard-issue pulse rifle and slung it over his shoulder along with his extra bag of ammunition canisters. He then took the large gauze cannon and locked it into his armrest and chest brace, effectively locking it into place and arming it. He stepped on the drop plate almost at the same time as Karn and Frenchie. The latter blew him a kiss and gave him a wink as the commander yelled, "Ready in 3, 2, 1. And the plate dropped out from under him. His suit automatically compensated for height and trajectory as the three of them slammed into the ground. Servos whined as they compensated. He grunted as he stood straight. "Say what you would, that shit still hurt the knees." "Report," he said in his helmet mic, taking in the location. He put them at just about 2 blocks away from the target cathedral. "I'm getting enemy movement from the east. Looks like a bunch of them too. But I don't know if they're heading this way," came Karn's voice. The man sounded genuinely disappointed. "They might not be. I've painted the cathedral in our HUD. Let's get going. I can hear fighting from that direction," came Frenchie. Her voice scratchy as usual. "Let's go. Take point, Frenchie." "You going to be okay, Karn?" Oliver asked, snickering a little at the disappointment etched on Karn's face through the helmet at having to go the other way. "Fuck you, Casso," came the reply, and he gave another snicker. "You know we can hear you, right?" Karn asked. "Hear what?" he asked, managing to sound dead serious. Karn gave him a friendly shove as they moved up to where Frenchie was leaning around a corner and holding up a hand to wait. He could see his HUD display light up with crimson markers as Frenchie tagged enemies. She ducked back around the corner and nodded at Oliver. "Let's go," he said as they all three rounded the corner. Frenchie's pulse rifle cycling up with a whirring sound, Karn sprinted off to the side. His pulse rifle already firing into the mass of yellow bugs that swarmed around the cathedral. He squeezed the double trigger mechanism and his gauze cannon fired, vaporizing multiple bugs and scoring a deep burn into the street. He swung himself around to aim at the ones in front of Karn and fired his second shot. Again the bugs disappeared, vaporized by the large cannon. He ran forward, ejecting the 2 empty canisters by snapping the barrels downwards, and with practiced ease slapped 2 full canisters in the tubes and jerked the chamber closed again. Frenchie's fire had allowed him to move even farther than he would have thought capable with so many enemies, and as he took aim at a tall blue Viril he heard Karn yell, "Thermite charge out," and threw something into a cluster of yellow bugs. He compressed the double trigger again and the round seared through 4 yellow bugs but didn't make it to the Viril. So he fired the second round. It made it through, vaporizing the right shoulder and part of its face. A flash and squealing sounds erupted off to the west from the thermite charge. A large area was burning, including enemies. Karn quickly cut them down with his rifle. Oliver swung back to the broiling swarm and ejected the 2 spent cartridges as his other hand popped 2 fresh ones in. They were running toward them in mass, trying to overwhelm them. He jerked the chamber closed and fired again. He had 1 more left and then he'd be down to his rifle. He found his target. Another Viril commanding the yellow bugs. He aimed and fired. Not waiting to see his handiwork, he unclasped the cannon and let it drop. He swung the bag off his shoulder, swinging the pulse rifle around in the process, and in a second it started to spool up with the whirring sound all pulse rifles made. Pulse rounds tore through the yellow bugs as he pushed forward. He could see the civvies barricade in front of the large double doors. They were firing wildly into the mass of bugs. "Frenchie, get your ass to that barrier," he said. "Carn, so some hate and discontent, would ya?" "My pleasure," came the reply as he pulled out a handful of grenades and lobbed them into the enemy one after another. Oliver kicked a bug in its head as it got too close, firing repeatedly at the horde still charging for the most part at the cathedral. He watched his ammunition cartridge deplete in his HUD, expertly flicking it out and slapping another in to continue moving. He had spotted 3 Viril gesturing as if commanding the masses or a portion of it, and started making his way towards them. He slammed his empty fist downwards, smashing through the yellow exoskeleton as he took a step and kicked another as hard as he could, not even caring about how much damage he did. Only about moving forward to kill those Viril. They were the leaders, intel said. Take them out. The little yellow shits went crazy. He worked his way forward for several more meters before his luck ran out. An enemy pulse round smashed through his left arm. He could feel the emergency medical foam already being applied, but he didn't slow down. Instead, he let out a growl and redoubled his fire towards the Viril. They had noticed him though. And a massive yellowish-green monstrosity 5 times his size charged him. Yellow bugs were smashed or thrown aside as it let out a roar. Oliver focused his fire on one spot on its abdomen as it drew closer. Finally, the pulse rounds penetrated its hard exoskeleton, and it took several rounds fully. It didn't stop. Though it was staggered, Oliver could see its faceted eyes darting wildly and could tell it was hurt badly. But his ammunition was depleted and he smashed the rifles but as hard as he could manage right in its open jaws. He was rewarded with a sickening crunch as it obliterated the damn thing's head. The blow stopped it and Oliver stepped around the body, grabbed the rifle barrel with his left arm using his body to hold it. He quickly spun the ammo cartridge out and grabbed another off his belt to slap in with his right hand. He resumed his march towards the Viril, mowing down more and more of the yellow bugs. He could tell they were getting nervous as one of them scurried off. "I made it to the barricade castle. These fucking civvies have the plaza wired. You guys need to get out of there," came Frenchie. Her voice said they needed to get out and fast. "Tell them to hold on," came Karn's voice, somewhat alarmed. "I'm almost to the northern entrance to the plaza. Will I be safe there?" She was quiet for a moment and came back. "Roger that. The barricade will be overrun shortly. They don't have a choice." "Oliver?" came Frenchie again. "I'll make it," he said as he launched himself at the Viril. He closed the distance much faster than they were prepared for, and his surprise attack caught the left Viril completely off guard. A hole appeared in its face before it could react from a pulse round. Its partner let out a hiss and swung her fist to intercept him. He was at that moment picked up by some angry god of fire and rage and thrown violently. He could see the Viril's eyes widen in surprise as they were thrown together, careening across the plaza and into an alley. Something heavy rested on his back and the fucking Viril was pinned under him. It hissed again and again, flailing at him. He could feel something stabbing him in his leg, and as he looked down, through his broken HUD, he could see a small needle-like appendage attached to one of her sub-hands. Suddenly the warm sensation made more sense. He started laughing as she squirmed harder, gasping for air. She was blacking out when he felt something large enter his leg. She managed a weak smile as her paralytic poison worked its way to his heart. He could only stare at her smug, nearly flawless face as he took small gasps of air. It was everything he could do to manage those small gasps. And soon it wasn't enough for his large body. The Viril was at the end of a long dark tunnel. Why were they fighting? He couldn't remember right now. Everything was woozy. Everything was ringing. "Private Casso. Can you hear me?" It was Frenchie. He couldn't respond. He tried. His leg. "Oh shit." That was Karn's voice, kinda sounded worried. "Wonder what had those two worked up? Oh well, he must have drunk too much last night. Don't shoot it. Fuck. We can't risk it. If they're linked already, it'll kill him too. Bind her. Let's get inside," came an unknown voice. Something caught his attention. He tried to focus on it and found it difficult. It felt important. "How many did she get him with, Doc?" came Frenchie's voice, worry apparent. "Who are you?" came a soft feminine voice. It cut through his foggy thoughts and the other voices like a beacon through fog. He turned to see a beautiful blue-skinned elf shrouded in mist to her waist. Something tugged at him, but he couldn't pinpoint whatever it was. "Oliver Casso. Who are you?" he replied. She was silent for a while, slowly walking towards him. "Something is wrong here," she said, her brows furrowing. "This isn't right, you should be dead." Her eyes went wide with surprise and fear, and he could see she was beginning to panic. "No. I shouldn't be in your mind." What was she talking about? He reached out as she turned to flee and grabbed her slender wrist. As soon as his hand seemed to touch her skin, electricity surged through his body, burning into him. The woman screamed. He screamed. Then everything stopped suddenly. The woozy feeling melted away and he could feel someone. They were scared. And injured. And not far away. He could pinpoint them. "Hold him down, it's about to crawl out," came Karn's voice. He could feel his leg being shredded as something was working its way out. "Hurry, get another towel." Surprisingly, it didn't hurt much though. He could feel his nanites working to knit his torn muscle and tendons back together, even as whatever it was finally worked its way out of his leg. It was warm, he could feel it crawling up his side as quickly as it could. It was tired. He could feel it. It was his child. Yes, that felt right. That was weird. No. This is wrong, came the soft feminine voice. It sounded less sure of itself than before. "Who are you?" he demanded. He could no longer see her, she was turning into fog to his eyes, but he could still feel her wrist in his grasp. "I am Camino. Oh, ancestors, what have we done? I must warn them." The voice trailed off. No, they're blocked. What is this?" He groaned as someone gently placed a warm towel by his side where the small form was nestled. "Come on, Casso, wake the fuck up." Someone slapped him. Not harsh, but enough his eyes snapped open. "Ah!" he yelled as he grabbed his head. There were 2 more people in it than there should have been, and it felt like his brain had been torn into 3 pieces. "Hold still, Private, I'm trying to sew that leg up," came an older woman's voice. Yes, you dumbass, grab the child and give it to its mother." There was some grumbling, and then Oliver could see it was Karn the woman had been talking to. He gently took the child that was half him and the virile woman combined. Anyone could see the resemblance plain as day. He set it on her chest as she began to sob harder. The woman was fairly good at sewing up wounds, and as he waited he asked Frenchie, "How long was I out?" "Nearly 2 hours. She looked at Karn and back to him. "We've repelled 2 waves so far. Command says we're only a couple hours from being relieved, so we've been struggling to keep the civvies reined in." She flicked him in the head. "What about you?" "I'm still me." He looked at the virile and the child. She stared at him, then back to the child, and just continued to sob. Though she did hold the child carefully, almost reverently, to her chest with her 4 bound hands. She just continued to follow him with her eyes, a look of horror etched on her perfect blue face as tears continued to stream down her cheeks. "Something happened, didn't it?" Frenchie nodded. "About an hour ago, multiple virile were reported thrashing about violently, and those that have been captured are in an almost comatose state. They just stare off into space like that." She waved her hand at the virile woman holding his child. "Command ordered as many of them to be captured as possible. They want to know what's happening." Thanks for listening. Please leave a like and hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the story. If you feel generous and want to support the author's work, go visit the Patreon link in the description. Any support is welcome. Until next time.